I'm Jana from Open Mat Movement, and today we are going to be working on our hips. Now, the first thing I want to say about this is I feel like we're always talking about tight hips. Everyone feels like they have tight hips. But I would like to ask you, what's made you feel that way? Like, do you feel that way because you can't sit in double lotus on the ground? Because that doesn't have as much to do with your hips as you might think. Um, the other thing I would say is like having the loosest hips ever doesn't really need to be a goal, nor is it important. However, if you're having pain in the area, if you feel like you have some specific goal, like I'd like to be able to sit on the ground cross-legged, and right now that's really uncomfortable for me, or something like that, then it's maybe a good idea to work on some hip mobility because the hips can be an area that cause some tension or some sensitivity for a lot of us. So that being said, let's start to work on our hips. We're going to be looking at different types of lunges. So for that, I always like having blocks, especially if you have short arms like me. But even if you don't, it's just nice to have some extra support. So let's start sitting on our knees or in a comfortable position and just taking a moment to tune in. And you might like to pay special attention to your hips. Imagining that you could see your hip bones, see the femur bone, the thigh bone, where it comes into the hip socket. And take a notice, see how they feel right now. And then we'll check in at the end and see if anything has changed. Oh, someone's come to join us. How lucky. We're so lucky. Okay, let's come into a lunge. So whatever is your normal lunge, maybe blocks under the hands can feel nice. And just feel into this. This often feels really good for a lot of us. And this might be where we're thinking like, oh, I'm so tight. But just because you're feeling a sensation doesn't mean that you're tight. You're just feeling maybe the end of your range, which will feel like tightness because it's the end of your range. Okay, let's come on up. Maybe no hands. Come back to the other side. And feel this side. I know that my left hip has a tighter sensation than my right. So if you have differences, just tune into that. And try to let go of whatever story you have associated with that. I definitely have stories associated with my left tighter hip, but let's just let those go and just notice. Okay. All right, let's come back. Excusez-moi. We'll come back into the left side, and this time, instead of coming down like this, we're going to start by pressing the front foot, firmly into the mat. Maybe that also creates a pressing sensation in your back leg. After you've got that press, start to feel like you're trying to drag your hips together. So this front leg and this back leg feel as if they're dragging towards each other. And already you're probably going to feel a lot more sensation there. So this is a really nice isometric contraction that you're creating in your back hip here and in your legs. And so if you're someone that feels like, God, I've done so many lunges, but nothing seems to change, try these more often because that isometric movement or tension can really kind of speed up the opening process. Yeah. Okay. You can switch however you like. If you're a vinyasa person, maybe you want to do a vinyasa in the middle and then come to the other side. And so we're on our right side. potentially, it doesn't actually matter. And you'll press your right foot down, your front foot, and maybe that creates a pressing sensation in the back leg, and then try to bring them together. So I feel like as if I'm trying to drag my limbs towards each other, but they're not moving because I'm on a sticky mat. And already I'm feeling so much more sensation in my left hip and just in my legs in general. What is happening? Hello. She's a climber. Okay, keep that sensation, breathe. It's intense, at least for me. Okay, and then you can let go of that effort and switch. I'm kind of feeling like I want to go into a downward facing dog in the middle. Maybe if you're in downward dog, maybe you're swaying. Maybe you're bending and straightening your knees. Okay, and then we're going to come into the right side again. And we're going to start with that same action, pressing the front foot down, back leg, pulling them in towards each other. And then what you can do here is you can put your hands on your hips, try to find your hip points, and then keep this action, the pressing action. That's the most important thing. And see how far you can go forward while keeping that action. So we're not just kind of like leaning forward. We're really trying to keep that tension as we move forward and back. So now we're including some eccentric, oh no, and concentric movement. And so again, if lunges don't seem to be making a difference, try these. So I don't know if you can tell, but I've got all the tension happening in my legs. And so I'm really not moving very much. And actually, I can feel it on my calves as well. I wonder where you feel it. Wherever you feel it is perfect. Okay, kitty, we're gonna switch sides. Maybe we wanna come back into see what happens here. Downward facing dog. Okay, wherever you are, we're gonna bring the left foot forward. Starting with that same action, pressing down, pulling together, and then from there, I find it helpful to place my hands on my hips. And then I come forward and back, keeping that dragging and pressing feeling as we come forward and back. You could bring your hands up. You could bring your arms out. And can you feel the tension and how it's such a different sensation than just falling into a lunge? Nothing wrong with doing a lunge like that, but this is just such a different sensation. And there's a lot more happening inside your body, inside your cells, when you do it this way. Okay, let's come back to center. Last one we're gonna do like this. It's a version of camel, but we're gonna kind of do it without the back bend part. So I'll face this way. So what I'm going to do is try to lean backwards, keeping my upper body all the way from my knees up as straight as I can. Show it from the side. So notice I'm doing a little bit of a bounce. And then see if you can hold. So I'm not going very far, but there's a lot of activity happening here. So this would be your isometric hold. And then moving in and out of eccentric, concentric, and holding. The more you squeeze your glutes, the more you will probably feel stable. If you're starting to feel it in your knees, like a pulling sensation, just come farther up or take a little break. And when you're ready, come back in. Doesn't look like much, but it's pretty intense, huh? And coming out of that, whew, not so easy, man. Okay, from there, let's stretch it out a little bit. So it might feel nice to come into a wide-legged child's pose, like so. It might feel nice to sit up in Virasana, maybe bring your hands back and open up the hips, the front of the hips in a more passive way. So pick your poison, choose which one seems more restful, beneficial to you. It's not really poison. I don't think that's a very good expression for this, but I think you get what I mean. Nice. Okay, coming on up out of that. And from here, let's lie down onto our backs. If you'd like a pillow under your head, I highly recommend it. It makes a huge difference. I just don't have one right now. You can extend the legs out and just feel all around the hips, tuning back into that area. Mine definitely feel more alive and tingly. How do yours feel? Giving yourself this last moment of rest. Beautiful. And like all activities like this, I recommend doing them often so that you can really start to feel a difference. So I hope you enjoyed this short hip flexor focus class, and may you go out into your day feeling more energized, more loose, and ready to tackle what's to come. Okay, thank you.